How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and today we're taking a look at the new maps that are coming in to World of Tanks console on Tuesday. That's Tuesday the 23rd of February, I believe, yes. And basically what you can expect as part of that release of the updates, what the new maps are, and if you're a newer player, kind of discuss what the map's all about. There is one brand new map that no one's seen. That's Vineyard. This one, as you can see, this one here is Highway. This kind of picture here, I believe. But yeah, Vineyard is the brand new map that no one's seen before. So yeah, we're going to talk about some of the older maps as well that we'd like to see in the future, and I want to just go over all of the maps that we actually have on World of Tanks console for you newer players, discuss potential places where you can go, and the typical places that you want to be looking at going on these maps. It'd kind of be a skim over because we can't go that in detail with every single map, but I'll try my best to kind of indicate where the best spots are on the map, and you can pause the video and kind of look at them more in detail. So first things first, Highway. This is the map that's coming in. So obviously we want to make sure that you guys can actually know what you're doing on this map. So first things first, where are the spawns? So you've got a cap circle here, as you can see on screen, right about here and right about here. You've got this town area here where, if you're a heavy tank, to be honest, you need to be going in here. This is the place where the main bit of action is for heavy tanks. TDs can come up to this area here on the map, and also up to this building here to get shots into the enemy base, because this is kind of a hilly area with the two ridges in between being dip. There's like a big dip. I think if it might be easier to show you on this, you can kind of see this area on the left over here. This is like a dip that goes down into a valley. And basically what you want to do on the map is focus your efforts on the town, and if you're a medium, sometimes you might want to push up into this area and then come down this way. What you don't ever want to do is go through the center of the map, this massive open field here. There is a ridge here where if you're moving down from here, you're going to get taken out from this ridge right there, with line of sight onto enemies right here on this ridge. Definitely if you spawn over here, there's a ridge here that you can come to if you're a TD, and then you can get shots on anyone that tries to move into this section of the map, like this kind of rectangle here, as well as people that may push up into this little town area here, which is not a good play to do. You basically don't want to come anywhere near this triangle here. There is a spot down here which you can use in order to shoot enemies that are pushing up. But yeah, this map is basically centered around the town area here for heavy tanks and mediums sometimes. Basically, if you're a non-turreted TD, then yeah, this is a good place for you too. Even if you're in a turreted tank, you can come to this area. However, mediums might want to more focus their efforts on this side, and then they can come back to defend the cap circle, which is located here, from anyone that might have won the town, and then they have to push down this hill and then back up this hill to get to the cap circle, which is around here. So yeah, on the other side, obviously you've got the same sort of thing. There's a hill that goes down here, and then you have to come up this hill here. There's a bit of cover over this side, so if you push down, you want to keep right over to this side and get behind. There's a rock here, and you can shoot onto people that are camping up here in their TD to be able to get vision over this way. So yeah, this is Highway. It's a map that's coming in, as I said, on Tuesday, the 23rd of February. So as of this video, you've only got the weekend to last until we get some new maps. And obviously Monday, and then when the new update drops, it is going to make the game a little bit better in terms of the map rotation. You're going to have some new things to experience, and I'm really hoping soon after we'll start to get some of the other maps that we've got in the game. I'm not holding out a massive hope for that, but what I would like to see is a few different maps coming back into the game over the next coming months. Even if it's like one map a month, as long as they're being kept in the rotation, they're not taking stuff out, which they did say on the Twitch stream that they would be doing. That would be fantastic, and I'd like to see just basically a full-on map rotation with a lot of maps in there. It'd be really good. So, Vineyard, we don't have much information on the map. If you want to check out what it actually looks like in-game, then you can go to the Twitch, World of Tanks console Twitch. It's just WOT console on twitch.tv. And you can look at their previous video. They did feature an actual gameplay preview stream, and you can access that there. If I can kind of guide you to the website right here, if we go to twitch.tv/directory/following, and then what you want to do is just go over here, or type it in, what console, like that, and it should come up as the first page. It's this one right here. What you want to do then is go to the videos, and you can see their videos right here, which is Highways and Vineyards map preview. Just basically goes over both of the maps in a bit more detail in terms of visually. I'm not going to rip any video highlights off, but if you want to check out what they actually look like in game, then that's where you can go to be able to do that. But I wanted to have a little bit more of a focus on some maps that I want to see back in the game as well, in terms of my favourites, which we'll have a look at in just a second. So first things first is Abbey is already in rotation. Airfield, this is my more favourite map than Sunset Coast. It's basically the original version, and then Sunset Coast came after that. So I'm not a fan of Sunset Coast, and I much prefer the actual Airfield variant. I think that this one would be nice to come back in, and even if we have two variants of the same map, it'd be nice to just have it back in. Arctic region. This is another map that's in rotation at the moment. It's kind of a good map. It's always in rotation. It feels like you get it all of the time. Not such a bad map. I think that it's got everything for every single tank type. I think it's a pretty balanced map, to be honest with you, and I really do like this map for any tank that I play in, even in heavies and stuff like that, which I don't tend to play. But yeah, it is a good map for everyone. And then moving on to Ardennes. Now this is one that isn't in rotation, as you'll see with a lot of these maps. This one's a snowy map. It's really quite heavy dependent in this little town area here, but then you've also got spots for TDs that camp on both sides of the town in these hilly areas, both here and here. And basically what it is there's quite a few different contesting spots which are here. This little central parade bit, obviously throughout the town, and then this corner over here is basically where you'll get most of the fire coming in through these different channels here, and then whoever basically wins the town basically wins the game. And yeah, it's an alright map, but it's not my favourite for sure. It's definitely one I would not recommend coming in straight away and focusing efforts on that one. But yeah, it's definitely one I kind of like. Then we've got Berlin. This is a very town-orientated map. I'm not a fan of it, to be honest with you. I just think there is this area here for mediums and stuff like that, but for the most part, you're having to trade with heavies in your tank destroyers, your mediums, and your light tanks. It's not a map that anyone really likes if you play anything other than a heavy. Artillery, not a great map because there's so many cover, and 90% of the map is just covered in buildings. It's not a map I would want Wargaming to focus their efforts on bringing into the game anytime soon. I mean, yeah, it is fun for heavies, but when a map is only for one tank type, then it's not particularly very fun for the rest of them. I think that they need to be focusing on maps that obviously are good for all tank types and not just a couple. things like Himmelsdorf and artillery, it's not particularly fun for the artillery player, especially if you're going for marks or whatever. Getting a map like that is just a bit unfair in terms of you're just going to do flat out worse than any other map just because you picked a tank that doesn't suit the map. I mean, you can't complain too much because some maps are generally better for your tank class, but it would be better if they made maps that actually were good for all types. But yeah. Then we've got Khan. This is another map that I enjoy. They did make 2 variants. They've got Khan 1944, I believe, something like that. But yeah, this map's alright. Not a bad one. But yeah, this one came in June 2017, so it's a fairly new map in terms of how long the game's been going. But yeah, I quite like this map, and it'd be nice to see it back. Quite a lot of different places where you can go. Heavies do quite well on it, mediums do quite well, TDs do well, artillery does well. But yeah, I mean, artillery does well on most maps, just because there's no arty cover in any of the new maps that Wargaming decide to make, which is something I don't like, but we'll have to roll with it, especially with the accuracy buffs they got. Yeah, I think they need to make more arty safe positions. Yeah, and then we've got Christmas toy tank. I mean, I don't really know why this was even in rotation at all. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't like that map. I don't think you should have to play a map like that, considering how small it is. Yeah, it's tiny, as you can see. Like most maps are, 1,000 meters. This is 0.35 of a kilometer. So yeah, it's a third of the size of Khan and most of the other maps. Yeah, not a fun map. Then we've got Cliff. This one's in rotation at the moment. Yeah, good map. I think it's good for most tank types, and it's one of the older ones that was in the game. Yeah, I think nothing wrong with that. So next we've got Dragon Ridge. Now this is a map I actually don't mind too much. It's kind of one of those that people tend to love it or hate it. I'm in the mind that I think I'd rather not see it focused on in coming back into the game, just because it gets quite stagnant, and the game really finds it hard if you progress. Your flank, you tend to get demolished by any of the campers that are sitting at the back. It's not a map that I'd focus my efforts on if I was wargaming to bring back into the game anytime soon. But it's a map I don't mind. Then we've got Dukla Pass. Now this is one of my favourite maps in terms of the versatility of it. You can actually run away sometimes in Dukla Pass and not get punished for actually trying to move away and move around the map, so long as you use the right corridors and routes. And it's one I would 100% actually like to see them bring into the game again. I genuinely like this map, and I'd like them to bring it in. It's like a woodland map. Yeah, it's got a lot of bushes, and I can see there's being a lot of opportunity for them to, make it look really nice with all of the foliage and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd like to see Dukla Pass being one of the maps that I actually would like to see relatively soon. Then we've got El Haloof already in rotation. Not much I want to talk about that since it is already in rotation. And it's one of my favourite maps currently out of them all, just because I like it. I don't really know why. I think it's just got a little bit for everything, and I think it plays well at all tiers as well. Then we've got Ensk, very dominant, heavy map. Not particularly great for artillery, to be honest with you, or light tanks. And it's good for mediums and heavies and high alpha TDs that can just poke around a corner, deal their shot of damage, take one shot in return, so long as they're trading well, taking 320 damage and then taking out someone else for 800 damage. So yeah, it's a very cornery map, and using cover for your advantage and just placing yourself in the right situation. It's a very aggressive map. You're not going to do well if you're a passive player. Do I want it in rotation soon? No, probably not. It's quite a small map. I think too many. Well, it's basically good for heavies and TDs, and I don't think anyone's going to particularly really want this map back anytime soon. Then we've got Erlenberg. This is a map I find I usually play quite well on, because it's one of those maps where you can retreat and you can move around. Not that many in the game at the moment, but yeah, you can actually move and avoid being shot and use your brain to be able to do more damage over time than some of the other newer maps. So yeah, it's a map I would quite like to see. And then we've got Fisherman's Bay. It's in the map rotation already. Won't talk about that too much. Then we've got Fjords. This map is a good map for everything. I think, it's one of those I would like to see. Maybe just improve some areas with a bit more room for manoeuvring. Because some of the choke points get very stagnant and it's hard to progress and hard to make different plays. So there are genuinely just about 3 places where you go on this map. There's not a lot of diversity in terms of that. It's either you come to this point here on the map, you come to this point here on the map, or you go to this point up here on the map. So there's really just 3 points. You can go here and get shots on people that go like here and here, but it's just corner fighting. And light tanks and mediums can go to this area and use hills and stuff, but it's not one I'd focus on. Still a good map though, and I do enjoy playing it. So that's the key thing. I think you guys would like this. And yeah, I'd like to see what your thoughts are in terms of what maps you'd like to see back. Yeah, there's quite a few in game. We've got Ghost Town then. Ghost Town being a very heavy based map, but it is good for all tank tiers, to be honest, or tank classes. I do enjoy playing this map. Yeah, it's definitely one I'd like to see back. Yeah, it's your go-to close quarters map, and that's what I love about Ghost Town. And yeah, I think it's fairly well balanced, and it makes for a good quick game, but also one where you can be quite good overall. Then it's Great Wall, probably not a map I would want to see anytime soon. It's quite boring. I think it's quite dragged out. Yeah, it's quite a big map in terms of where you go on it, and it can be quite annoying to move around the map. So yeah, it favours kind of light tanks and mediums to be able to move around, which I guess is good because there's not always that many maps in rotation right now that are good for that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for Great Wall. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not particularly amazed at Great Wall, to be honest, and I don't think Wargaming should probably focus on getting it back into the game anytime soon. I think that would be one of my lowest priority maps to come back. Then we got Halloween Grim Graveyard. This is the Halloween variant, so it's just basically Prokhorovka but Halloween version. So yeah, it's it's just a version of the same map that we already have. Halloween Himmelsdorf, already got Himmelsdorf. It's just a Halloween skinned version of the map. Then we've got Heilbronn. This is another map that I actually really do enjoy. I know a lot of people don't like it, and I could see probably the community not wanting the map back in rotation. But yeah, I think that it's quite good for everything. Heavies can go into this town area here, but you do have to watch when you cross, because mediums can shoot at you as well as light tanks. Light tanks and mediums tend to use this area here in the middle of the map. Heavies can go on the right hand side and the left hand side. Yeah, it's quite a nice one for all tank classes. Artillery usually focus up here on this side and over here on this side. Yeah, it's a nice one. I quite like that, and I'd like it back. Hidden Village is one I probably wouldn't want in the game straight away. I think it's one of the least favourite ones in terms of the ones in this list. Yeah, I think, it does have a little bit of everything, but I think it's quite stagnant, and I don't like those stagnant maps where it's, just trading on a corner. It's just boring gameplay, and I think that, it can be fun. It would be nice if they opened up the map a little bit more in this top corner for you to be able to kind of get another route where you can go, because it's yet again one of those, you either go into this area here, over this side, down the middle, or to the left, and that's the only options really. You can obviously use different places in the middle, but generally it's just a bit of a boring map to play. Then we've got Highway. This is obviously the map that I talked about earlier, and if you want to go and have a look back at that, then go ahead right now if you've forgotten. But this is the one that's actually coming into the game on Tuesday. Then we've got Himmelsdorf, already in rotation. Icebound, heavy type map, central in the middle for heavy tanks. Mediums can use the outskirts, and artillery usually focus right at the corners of the map and kind of hide away from everyone. Light tanks can also use the corners of the map to fight mediums and get shots into the middle where the heavies are. TDs tend to camp on the hills that are in the outskirts as well. If you're a non-turreted TD with high alpha, then the town is a good place for you too. Other than that, it's a fairly decent map. Probably on the list one of the lowest for me personally, just because I think it's kind of one of those maps where it's very much you just have to go to a certain spot if you're in a tank class. Like if I'm in a TD, I want to sit over there. If I'm in a heavy tank, I have to go into the town, otherwise I'm just going to have a worse game. Yeah, I don't think it's got opportunity for different tank types to really move into different places. I don't think it's a map that I find particularly fun to play, but that's personally. I'd like to see what you think. Then we have Karelia. Now this is one of the maps that I actually really enjoy playing. Would like to see this map back in rotation quite quickly after the 2 maps that we're getting. Yeah, I think this map is got potential for the updated graphics, and it can look really nice, I'm hoping. So yeah, I'd quite like to see that. Then we've got Kasserine, probably my least favourite map in the game. Just think it's just pretty terrible. It's an open map, but 90% of the map you don't use because you have to go to 3 points along the map. I genuinely don't think that this map is that good, to be honest with you. I think a lot of it is just wasted space. Like the top of this area here, it's just literally the central place of the map is the main focus of it, and I don't think that I'd ever really want this if it was out of the game. Then we've got Kunas, or I don't quite know how you pronounce it, but yeah, I don't mind this map. I think it's fairly decent. Fairly new one as well. Yeah, I like it. Then Comorin, this is one that goes up to tier 7, I believe. It's not a map I like, and I wouldn't want them focusing on bringing it back at all. Not particularly fun. We've got Lakeville. Now, this is a map I'd really like to see. I think it's got everything for everyone, and it's definitely a fan favourite. A lot of people love Lakeville as a map, and it's definitely one I want to see back in the game. Would really love them to bring this in as the next map that they bring back. Yeah, I'd quite like that. Then we've got Liberty Falls. This is kind of a console map, I believe. I don't think they have it on PC at all. Yeah, a map I don't really like. I think it's so small. It might not seem it, but it is very small, and this 90% of the map is just like you don't go. You've got this area here where pretty much most of the fighting goes on, or the other side. The middle is a death zone. You just don't go down there. I think this side and this side are the only place you want to be looking at on Liberty Falls, and so I don't think I'd want that back at any kind of priority. Then we've got Live Oaks. I like this map. We've got really good potential for the new graphics system and graphics engine. Would love to see it back in rotation. Definitely got everything for every tank class, and you can have good games in any one. You're not limited by the map in terms of whether you're going to do well, at least not for the majority of times. Then we've got Malinovka already in rotation. Won't talk about that. Mars is a special map a while back. Not particularly that great. It's basically like it's just a special map that they release at a certain time in the year and stuff like that. Then we've got Mines already in rotation, so we won't talk about it. Mountain Pass similarly. And then we've got Muravanka, which is one that is in rotation, or isn't in rotation, that I'd love to see back in rotation. I think it's, again, a map for every tank, and it's a very good one. you can hide, you can be aggressive, you can focus different things, you can move. I like the map, and it's something I'd like to see. Northwest, a map that I really like as well. You see the focus of these is basically maps that have a decent thing for all the different tank types are the ones that I'd like to see in the game. Overlord, don't want to see it back in the game. Think it's a pretty boring map, and yeah, it can be good, but the beach is somewhere you never want to go. A lot of new players will go down to the beach. You get shot from above, you get shot from in front, you get shot from behind. It's not one you want to play. The beach is just completely useless, and I would never ever recommend going down there unless it's your last resort and the enemy team have won this entire place here, and then you kind of have to retreat onto the beach because it's your last stand. Not a good map, and I really don't want to see it back in anytime soon. Pacific Island, probably the worst map in terms of balance at tier 10. It's so small that you spot the enemy team so easily, and the Typhoon variant was awful. I mean, actually awful. I hate the vision ones where it gives you tier 2 or tier 3 view range. I think that's not something I ever really want to see in World of Tanks, and I really hope they don't ever bring in the variants where it's like Typhoon, Sandstorm, stuff like that. Really hated those. I just thought if you're in a high alpha tank, it just makes it stupid for you. Then we got Pearl River. Good map. I'd like to see that one. Pilsen, I don't like as a map particularly. I think it's very stagnant and boring. You kind of just have to wait until either you win one side or the enemy team win the side to be able to deal like the majority of your damage. You can't really push that much. I mean, you can, but it's kind of risky, and yeah, it's not a map I particularly like. Same with Port. I don't like the map. I think the current rotation is ones that I don't particularly like, and my favourite ones are kind of out of rotation. I mean, Prokhorovka I do like because it has a little bit of everything. Heavy tanks aren't very good on it, to be honest. But yeah, I think that Prokhorovka is quite a nice one, and most people agree that it is one they like. Province, it's a tier 1, 2 and 3 map. I don't expect we'll ever see this back in rotation since they don't have tiers 1, 2 and 3. Well, they do have tier 3, but they definitely don't have tiers 1 and 2. I don't know if they'll revamp it, change it, make it bigger. Not entirely sure, but it's a map I don't like, and I don't really want to ever see it. Then we've got Rosanai, nice map, quite like it. Once again, got everything for everyone, and it's really, really good. As you can see, the description is it's a good all-round map for all classes. I really like this map, and you can do well on any tank class. So yeah, I really like that, and I'd like to see more of it. Then we've got Ravage Capital, one of my least favourite maps. I think it's kind of focused on this area and this area. I think it has got a little bit of everything, and I don't mind it too much, but yeah, I don't think I'd want that as a high priority either. Then I have my favourite map in the game, Redshire. I think that this is genuinely my favourite map. I don't know. I don't know why. It just has a little bit of everything, and it plays so nice. You're able to retreat, you're able to push, you're able to be aggressive, you're able to be passive. I think it's so good for everything, and yeah, I love it. Probably because it kind of favours medium tanks a little bit, tanks with gun depression. It's not so good for heavies, they kind of have to brawl, but that's not so bad. It's a nice map, and I do really like it. Then we've got Ruinberg, not a particularly great map for me. I think if you're in a medium or a light tank, it's basically anything other than a heavy and a TD with high alpha and no turret. Or with a turret, it basically becomes fight for the town. You can be good as a medium, but you do have to kind of trade your heavies on your team. I think it could definitely come back into rotation. It's a nice little brawling map. I think it'd be alright in rotation right now. Sacred Valley, I think this is a pretty shoddy map. I don't really know if I like it. I think most players find it a little bit annoying. It's not a map that I don't think it's particularly a fan favourite. Yeah, I don't think that I'd want that focused on as redeveloped. Then we've got Sand River. Yeah, a good map. It's in rotation right now. Obviously, you'll know that. But yeah. Then we've got Serene Coast. Is another kind of good map. Svorogorsk, good map. Both of these could definitely come into rotation. No problems with that. Siegfried Line. Oh, I quite like this map. I think that it's definitely one of those that, you know, is on the higher of my priority list to see back in the game. Yeah, I quite like that map. Same with Scorpion Pass, South Coast, bit of a campy one, kind of good. I think all three of these maps could definitely come back. Steps is already in the game, and then we've got Swamp. Swamp's a good map. Teetval Ridge is a good map. Training Ground, that's not a map that, you know, you play. It's just one of those. Trench Warfare, yeah, and yet again, not a map you actually play. Then we've got Tundra, quite a good map. Would like to see that. Westfield, yeah, I'd love to see that back. Wide Park, not particularly a fan of that, but, you know, I think it's good for the lower tiers because it's so small, but not good at tier 10. And you don't see it at tier 10 anyway. I think it's max of tier 7, 7 or 8. I think it is 7. But yeah, this is an alright map. And then finally, Windstorm. Never want to see this map in rotation again. I really don't like it. I think it's kind of boring and very heavy orientated. A lot of trading on corners, and it's just a bit boring. Yeah, but that is all of the maps. I know it's been a long one, and you know, there's plenty of maps in the game. A lot of them have different variants as well. Yeah, so it would be nice to just see basically some more maps back in the game. I know you guys are kind of really looking forward to that, and so am I. I really can't wait till these 2 new maps come back in, and I thought it'd be nice to just show you the different maps that there are in the game and just show you how many there actually are, because a lot of you newer players won't know that, and I thought that'd be quite nice. Obviously, when the new maps come in, I will give you a map guide, so you know what to expect when you actually come in, where you should be going in your different tank classes, and yeah, where you can do the best in the game. So basically that's it for today's video. I was just looking at the maps and what we'd already had. So yeah, I hope it was actually quite good for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see some more content, then you can click on screen on 2 of the videos that are on screen right now. If not, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video I upload. Thanks very much. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.